now it's time to move on to the next session. It's my pleasure to welcome Professor MD Shahariar Parvez, founder and CEO, Independent Perception and Research Hub, Bangladesh. Welcome you, sir. Now, let me introduce sir's brief profile. Professor MD Shahariar Parvez is an academician and researcher, development of economics, and he has also received award winner of and a social activist, and also an inspirational motivational speaker, and also he has acted special speaker in many conferences, and he is also an advisor and in think tank patient critic, writer, editor, author. He has also received Chancellor's Gold Medalist, and he is a valedictorian, PhD Research Fellow, MDS, MBA, Honorary Doctorate for Social Knowledge and Humanitarian. He is also the founder and CEO of the organization Independent Perception and Research Hub, Bangladesh. Sir, how the session is yours.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir, you're audible.
It's my pleasure, Dr. Mahalakshmi Madam, to represent me such a wonderful way, because I always believe that I'm a very simple person, and always think that I am searching myself, because if I am searching myself, then I am actually the green. If I already said yes, I am already searched myself, then I say, oh, it's over. So I think each and every participant must be thinking green, that yes, you are searching. For that reason, it is called research. So that is the main thing, that why we call it research, because we are searching in the field of the whole sea. So if you permitted me, then I want to share my slides. So I'm showing my PPT now. So the slides, it's okay now. Each and everyone see my slides. I think now it's okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's okay now.
Not sure. Okay, so this is about me, MD Shahriar Parvez, and these are my affiliation. These are my affiliation actually. So today, the main theme is the craft of the research and publication, and my topic actually related with the business research process fundamentals and its scientific implementation. And our spotlight pick is the business research process and its scientific implementation. Each and everyone seeing my slides is visible. I'm just clearing myself that it is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So now we come to the point that what is research? So research is the process of finding solution to a problem after a throughout a study and analysis of the situational factor. But in our this presentation, we are focused on the business research. So why we say it is business research? Because in the field of research, there are huge types of area like in the social science, in the economics, in the business. All these are the areas of research. Also the doctoral part, also the science part, all are related in the research. But our big point is the business research. So business research may be defined as a systematic and objective process of gathering, recording, analysis of data for aid in making business decision. The main point is here, it is the business decision. And the main point, another point is here that it is a important tools for the manager and the decision maker in the corporate sector and also in non-corporate organization, because as you are a researcher, it is not a thing that you are a professional educator or you should be a teacher or you should be a lecturer of an university. You should be a corporate, you should be a manager. So research is for all because it's a business research where the organization is related, your research is related there. Business research actually provides the needs of information that guides the manager to make the informed decision to successfully deal with the problems. The point is here, successfully deal with the problems because each and every daily life you face the problem. For that reason, our my previous respected madam already said that you should write the problem statement. But in a corporate, you are not writing the problem statement because you are facing the problem each and every day. The information provided could be result of careful analysis of data gathered and also available to the company, because if the data is not available to you, then it is not possible to find out the solution or find out the solution problem successfully solved. Now come to the point, when is business research used? Actually, typically business research methods are used in a situation of uncertainty. That is, when decision makers face two or more course of action, seek to select the best possible alternative under the circumstance. And business research actually aim to improving the quality of decision, which in the turn of benefits the organization, and it helps ensure its continuity and efficiency. So your business research should be benefit, should be give the benefit to your organization, and it should be the continuity and give you the efficiency with effectiveness. And another point is here, the typical user of business research. The business research should be, user should be the business or corporation, public sector agencies, also the consulting firm, also the research institution, then NGOs, then non-profit organization, and independent researcher or consultant. Like types of business research, like in a business research, we can find out that there are two types of research are involved here. That is the applied research and also the basic or fundamental or pure research. In the applied research, it is to solve a current problem faced by the manager in working setting, demanding timely solution. Example, should corporation X adopt a paperless office environment? It is the example of applied research. Like they should be applied it. Another point is that is in a basic research, the fundamental or pure research. It is to generate a body of knowledge by trying to understand the certain problem that occur in the organization can be solved. The finding of such research contribute to the building of knowledge in the various functional areas of business. For example, how does motivation affect employees' performance? So these tools actually the fundamental ways of basic research and also the applied research. Then we come to the next part, that the common business research method and techniques in the organization or the field of business research. That is also the survey, the interviews, the observation, also experiment, also using the archival or historical data, also the quantitative and also qualitative analysis.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Your slides are not changing.
Yes, thank you so much. I am okay. Uh, Now it's okay. Everyone observe the
Yes,
slide.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's perfectly fine. Okay.
okay. So next one is come, that fields where business research is often used. We can divide the business in different areas or different segmented. Like in different segment, like the general business condition, also the management or organizational behavior research, also the financial and accounting research, and also we can say that we have sales and marketing research, we have information system research, we have corporate responsibility research. Now come to the point that in a general business condition or corporate research, it is a long term, also long range, short term or long range forecasting, business and industry trend, you must be analysis, and also you must analyze the global environmental problem. Also you analyze the inflation and pricing. Also it is analyzes the acquisition part of your company. Another point is come the management and organizational behavior research, that is related with the total quality management research. Also related the job satisfaction and moral job satisfaction. Also related the research with the leadership style, and also the organizational effectiveness and organizational climate change. So financial and accounting research, which is very much important in the organization because it is related to the monetary term, like forecasting the financial markets or interest in the rate trend, like the pricing, how the prices change. Also the stock market analysis, the bond market analysis, the commodity or value prediction. Capital information alternative, also merge and acquisition of your organization, and related to the risk return trade-off. Portfolio analysis, those who are related with the stock market, they understand the portfolio analysis for a very much important research for any MS or PhD student. Another point is come, that is impact of taxes. Like each and every year your organization pay the tax, so your research should be related with the tax, and also relate with the expected rate of return, that what's the expected rate of return for your organization to meet up the goal for your profit maximization, and also credit risk and cost analysis. Another part is come, that is in the sale or marketing research. Those who are students in a marketing field, they are related to the market potential research. Also the company market share, that how they are segmented in the market, what percentage of share they captured in this area or industry. So these are the research actually related with the market, like distribution channel research, another important research, and also the buyer's behavior, that how can your buyers actually behave, and customer satisfaction, because without customer satisfaction it's not possible to maximize the profit. Another point is here, that why the business research should take by the corporate, because they always want to maximize the profit. Without profit maximization, it's not possible to sustain their corporation or their business. In the information technology research, like you have the knowledge information needs, and also computer information system use and evaluation, and also related to the data mining, database analysis, and corporate responsibility research. You want to know about the ecological impact, that your product must not be harmful for the customer, for the client. and also analyzes the legal constraint or advertising or promotion and social value and ethics. The point is here that selected example for real life situation in which business resource method are used. Like a firm wants to produce and market a new product, but first want to ascertain if there is a potential customer demand for this product in the market. This is a very important research for each and every production house. Those who are want to produce their product must analyze this research in the market. Another real life example is that the multinational firm wants to establish a production facility in another country. So it is another country, like the host country and the home country. So the home country and also where you establish your new business. So in our country, like I give one example in Bangladesh, because I am from Bangladesh. Like in our country, the mobile phone sector, actually the booming sector, like within a very few years, our mobile phone sector actually captured a lot of customers from the market, and each of every person, almost including the child, we have one cellular phone. So the main market leader of the company is the Grameen phone, which is the Telenor Norway. So Telenor is the main company. They are the multinational company, and they captured the Grameen phone with the collaboration with the Grameen phone, and they continue their business in Bangladesh. In government, like in a financial institution wants to invest in commodities, and commission a study determine the past trend, forecast future return in a portfolio or commodities. So these are related with the real life situation, because you are the researcher. You must be understand each and every point, because after your study, after your graduation or after your PhD, you don't know which organization actually captured you. Like you are a professor, that's not a matter. Like a corporate hire you that please sir do a research for us. So you must understand these are the situation of real life situation. Now come to the point that the value of business research for the manager, reduction of the uncertainty and improvement in the quality of decision making with several consequence of advantage. It is the main factor that benefit for the organization. And also you understand the business research method can employ each of the four stages. These are the stages like identify of the problem or opportunity that useful for the strategy planning, analysis of internal and external organizational environment. Also, number two, diagnosis and assessment of your problem. All are related with the problem, must understand that. And number three is related with the section and implementation of course of action. So courses of action, like how can you find out the problem and how can you solve this problem. So number four, the evaluating the course of action, and it is the sustainable stage. You evaluating the monitoring, the implementation stage, that how can you implement it, and also monitoring the factor and sustain it. So these are the related with the value of the business research for the manager. Come to the point, like evaluation of the research is the formal objective measurement and evaluation of extent in which activity, project or program has achieved its goal. Like it's related to the goal related effectiveness, and it's a formal objective measurement in evaluation of the extent to which going on the activities. Another point is come, like here is a example is performance monitoring research. So this is one example of a railway passenger satisfied with the level of service of the railway. It is a like railway related with the government sector. So government must, as the railway sector must research on this studies that a railway passenger satisfied with the level of service of the railway company is providing. It is also related to the satisfaction services. Like in a marketing research, you must understand this kind of research related with the marketing. How can your customer is satisfied? Now we show one diagram that is when business research should be undertaken. Like if sufficient time is available in your hand, if yes, then go to the next parameter, that is information is inadequate. If yes, then go to the next parameter, that high importance of decision. If yes, then go to the next parameter, the research benefit, and gather then the cost. It is a very important part, that what's your research benefit. Like you invest a lot, because each of the research must take some cost involvement, and if your cost is not greater than, if your research benefit is not greater than by your cost, then it's not possible to undertake the research, because your organization must invest on you for doing this research. If it is no, no, and no, then do not take the business research, because at that time you again analyzes your problem. Otherwise it is not possible to sustain your business organization, because your main target is the profit maximization. Another point is come, that value and cost. It is very much important part, because value and cost of undertaking the business research, it is the value part and also the cost part. In the value part, you decreases the uncertainty, then you correct the decision, you better the business performance, and you have high profit, and you have better reproduction or reputation. In the cost part, you have research cost, you have making decision, delay in making business decision, then disclosure of information to reveal, and possibility of error, because it is the error. When you are go in a statistical process, you have find out the error, that is the error, the possibility of error. So if your cost is not minimizing, if your cost is the higher than your value, then it's not possible to undertake the business research in your organization. So your value proposition, your value is the main target for a researcher, for a corporate, that for a manager, that if your organization, after doing this research, after completing this research, if this research give you the value, then you should undertake this research. Now come to the point, the building the blocks of the research. In your research, you must understand the blocks. What are the blocks? The blocks is come from the data, because you must have sufficient data inside it. Also, in your data, actually the measurement of the phenomena. Another point is come from your data, you must go to the information, because determination, the relationship among the data with the view of understanding the phenomena. And after the data, after the information, you gather the knowledge for your business research. Research, like the blending of information, your experience inside that, provide the framework that can thoughtfully evaluate it for the solution of the business. So this is the main blocks, that how can you take the business research. Another point is come, that is demand on data and information in your business research, because without accurate information or accurate data, it's not possible to get a better research. The relevance to the problem or situation at hand, because if you have no data, then you can find out the problem. Must be available in timely, like your data should be in timely manner to the right person. Your data should be accurate, your data should be accessible, your data should be complete, and it should be affordable. If your data is not affordable, then it's not possible for a manager, for a corporate to undertake the business research. And also, you should border of global information for decision support system. That is another important part for your business research. Another point is come, that data information source for business researcher, like from where you collect this data? From your internal record. These are the main source of data. Like for the internal record, you can find out the secondary source of data, like data about the cost, your shipment, your sales, your inventory, and all these are data related with your internal record. Also, you have some record like new data and information, that is the primary data you must collect for your business solution, business to find your problem, find out the problem. You should take some the new data or information, that is the primary data. Another point is come, that is called business intelligence system, like information about the non-occurrence development in the external business environment. Like in your business, you have the internal environment, also the external environment. So if the sources of network give you the data, and that is called the external business environment data, also you collect from your business intelligence system. Another point is come, that is online database. If you have online database, you can collect the data. From the internet, you can collect the data. And all other source, you can collect the data through the research institution, library, books, journals, and also the newspaper, the Chamber of Commerce and the industries. Now come to the point, the science and the scientific method. So science has been defined as the methodological and systematic approach to acquisition of new knowledge. So you must understand the new knowledge. When you research it, you find out some knowledge after your research. And the scientific method is one of the important part for implementation of your research, because without some scientific implementation, it's not acceptable the research in this world. So come to the point, the essence of the scientific method. Why? Because characteristics of scientific method, actually the objectivity, the systematic analysis, the logical interpersonal of result. Also, it's the basic research, it's the applied research, and the scientific method is applied here. It's the general laws are here, and information and idea for alternative course of action. So it is the point that element of scientific method. What are the element actually? The elements are empirical approaches, observation method, question answer method, then questioning method, then hypothesis method, experimental method, analysis method, also the replication or conclusion method you can also apply it here. Another point is here, the scientific investigation. Under the scientific investigation in the business research, you have to analyze the observation, you identify the problem area, and also analyzes the theoretical framework, also create the theoretical framework and apply the hypothesis. In the hypothesis, you can apply one, two, three, four, five hypotheses here. When you apply the hypothesis, you should be proved that your hypothesis should be accepted or rejected. Then you should design your research. From where you design, you analyze the literature review and those research already done in this world. You can analyze that research and find out your research design. Also data collection, and the data collection method, you can apply the primary or secondary data, no problem is here. Also data analysis, and in the data analysis part, you can apply the statistical tool like SPSS, like PSSL, or like Strata. You can apply anything like AMOS or anything you can apply here. Another point is that is data interpretation. Like we are the business person. Suppose we are the business person, we are not a statistician. So it is sometimes it is not possible for us to interpret the data properly. So it is better after analyzing the data, you must consult with one statistician that who has the actual idea that what's the interpretation. Like my p-value is less than 0.05 or my p-value is greater than 0.05. What this mean? It is my null hypothesis is rejected or my hypothesis is accepted. How can I understand that? You should understand this way, that by getting one expert statistician, then you understand this thing that was the interpretation of your data. It is the most important part, because if you are not doing the interpretation part, then your total research part actually not working in future or is sustainable or sustain in a future. Then you should implementation your research on your organization or your corporate part. Now come to the part that in the step of processes hypothetical detective method. Like in the hypothetical detective method, you face these things like observation, like problem identification, theoretical framework, like hypothesis, research design, logical analysis, and deduction. These also called the hypothetical process, the seventh process of your research analysis. So, in a problem statement, it is a clear and precise that what's the main problem or the question arise in your investigate or in your problem, then how can you find out the solution? Then in the theoretical framework, it is the foundation of which the entire research project is based on. It is a logically developed, described, and elaborate network of association among the variables relevant to the problem situation. In a hypothesis, it is a tentative statement that is a process of how can you explain the phenomena or the event. Also in a data analysis, you gather the data and statistically analyze, and also the measurement is the process that observe and recording observation are called also a part of the research approach. So these are the process that how can a researcher or how can a corporate manager or a research body you can apply this research in the practical field. In the problem formulation, so it is the point is here that well begun is half done. So you must understand that where do research topic come from? The idea for a research project. And one of the most common source of research idea is that experience of practical problem in your field and also the literature review. You must review the literature because this is a very much important for a young researcher. Without literature, without reviewing the literature, that those who are already did this research, those who are already done this research, without finding out the literature review or find out the research gap, it's not possible for you to understand the actual problem or actual formulation of the problem. Then the level of measurement. Here is the level of measurement, that in the level of measurement, you have the variable, you have the attribute, you have the value and relationship. And under this, you have the nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So you understand this thing like the absolute is 0 in the ratio. In the interval, it is the distance in meaningful. In the ordinal, the attribute can be ordered. In the nominal, attributes are only named or weakest. So you must understand the which one you should be applied. Like in a ratio analysis, in a financial method, ratio analysis is one of the research. You analyze the ledger, you analyze the journal, you analyze the income statement of any corporate and applied the ratios on that that is on that statement and find out the research. It is also one kind of research. And also in the research cycle, you must question yourself. In the research cycle, the questioning, planning, gathering, sorting, synthesize, evaluating, and reporting. So these are the process in the report that how can you analyze it, like clarify your question. You must understand that your question, develop your plan, gather the information, and also synthesize, evaluate, revise your question, revise your plan, again, gather again, then again you analyze this, again you evaluate, then you understand, then you write your report. So it's not a task that you, when you start your research and writing your report, no, it's not a good deal. You must analyze the research, you must question, you must plan, you must gather the information, then you write your report. Otherwise, your report should not be a clear report for the audience, for the customer. So come to the point is that in a information needs in a business, like almost every organization has engaged in research at some level. So to stay competitiveness, so each of the organization research themselves. Companies gather both data both from within and outside the organization. And the method used, gathered, analysis, and synthesize actually informed from the external and internal environment are becoming the increasing sophisticated to the immense scope of computer technology. So we have now computer technology inside us. So it is very much important to understand the computer technology like the ICT, the information, communication, and technology. These are also, as a researcher, you should understand this thing. Otherwise, nowadays, it's not possible to sustain your research. So ICT is a very much important factor. Now we come to a little bit deeper part that is called the research process. In the research process, you have observation, gathering the data, problem defining, theoretical framework, hypothesis, research design, data collect, then reduction, then report writing, then report presentation, and also managerial decision making. This is called the research process. So now in the research design, the purpose of the study, you must elaborate. You must explain that what's your study. It should be exploratory study, it should be descriptive study, it should be hypothesis study, or it should be case study. So as a researcher, you understand better that what type of study you applied in your research. So research design can be thoughtful of a structure of research, and it is a very important element for a researcher that how can he or she design the research part. And also come to the measurement scale, like the rating scale. If you apply the rating scale, like Likert scale is very much famous scale. Here is the 5-point Likert scale, but now already we have 7-point or 9-point Likert scale is here. So if you don't have the Likert scale, if you don't have the idea of Likert scale, then you can just search it and you find out a lot of literature on the Likert scale. So these are the scaling method that how can you measure your research, that in a questioning answer, how can in what the process you ranking your scale. So it is one of the important part for the researcher that how can you rank your scale. Otherwise, it's not possible to measurement the proper research result. Now, another point is come data collection method. Data can be collected in a various ways, like data source can be primary or secondary, and data also be collected from the interview method, face-to-face, telephone, computer interview, questioning, then observation, and also motivational technique can also applied in data collection method. Because in a data collection method, if you are not motivate your respondent, then it's not possible to come the actual data from them. So it is very much important part that don't ask them direct question. You must ask them a diplomatic question, a motivational question. Then it should be better for you to collect the better data from them. Now come to the point, the sampling. In the sampling method, a sampling is a subset of the population. So if you conducted your research on a huge population, like on an area of population like 1,000 or 2,000 people, then it's not possible to collect the data from them. So you must sampling. So there are various sampling techniques are here, like sampling is the process selecting a sufficient number of elements from the population, and studying a sampling whether the entire population is sometimes to lead the more reliable result, and mostly because the figure that reduce result in fewer error on data collection, time, cost, and human resource also saved. So in a survey are useful and powerful in finding answer to the research question, but if the data are not collected from the people or subject that can provide a correct answer to solve the problem, the survey will be the way. So it is one of the important part that how can you sampling. So there are various technique in a sampling. I think it's not possible for me to give all these things in this like short time. So I am suggesting you that you should reviewing literature review on the sampling technique, or you should read some books that how what are the steps actually you applied the sampling technique. Like in you are the researcher, so you know what are the main, how can you sampling your population. So there are various techniques in different areas. Another point is come that data analysis and interpretation. Already I discussed that it is a statistical way that in data preparation and descriptive statistics and inference statistics. So if you using the hypothesis model, you can apply this. If you are describing the data, then also you can apply the statistics. So without the statistics, a research is not possible to finding the result from the accurate result from your research. In the descriptive statistics, is provide the sampling summarize about the sample and the measurement. So here is the central tendency, mean, median, mode, dispersion. These are related with the descriptive statistics, and in the descriptive method, you have the mean like common phenomena like median, like mode, like dispersion, like a standard deviation, the range that was the also. If you are inferential statistics, then you apply the t-test analysis, ANOVA analysis, covariance analysis, and regression model. Also, you can apply it here. So, as a, I think if you are a business student, then it is better to get a course on statistics, or you can concern with the expert statistician, because without concerning an expert statistician, it is not possible to finding out the data interpretation. So it is a very much important part for you. So in the statistic method, the central tendency, you see the measurement scale, the nominal, mode, ordinal, median, interval, the symmetric data, mean, skewed data, and median. Also the ratio, the symmetric data, mean, skewed data of the median. So these are the exercise actually in the reference part. You can find out it from the net, because this is a global village. So if I said I know everything, then I am actually lying with myself, because I don't know everything. I must search everything from my wish, from my goodwill. So I am searching it from the net. I think it is better to searching each of this technique from the net, then it will be better understanding for you. Then research report. In the research report, you understand the research proposal. How can you prepare the proposal? You understand the research report and also research presentation. Without proposal, you can't find out the research report, and without writing a base report, you without presentation, it's not possible to understand the client or the what is called your supervisor if you are a PhD student, or if you are a MSc student, or if you are a corporate, then your buyers don't understand that what's the main research you actually did. So come to the part that research report article vary in how they are organized, like abstract, the brief summary of content of the article, also introduction, a explanation that how the purpose of the study, also the literature review, a critical assessment of the work done so far on this topic and how the current study relates with what has already been done. I am already said that, or that study already been done. So you must find out the research gap. It is a very much important part that without finding out the research gap, it's not possible to understand the literature review in a better way. And what should your research, that how can you differentiate your research from the others one. Then methodology. In the methodology part, that how the study was carried, like in a like your procedure, your method, what type of method you apply. In the result, we can find out your study in the discussion. Also the conclusion. Conclusion is very much important part, because many of the students, many of the PhD students, many of the MSc students, actually they just mistake in your conclusion. Conclusion is very much important part for your research, because in a conclusion you show that what's your finding, how can you implement this, like state the conclusion and implement implication of your result, and discuss how it relates to the work review in the literature review also, and point the direction of further work in the area, like research for the future researcher. So it is come from your conclusion part. Now I'm just briefly describe about the literature review, because it is very much important part, because conducting and ensuring the researcher is familiar with that all the what is known about the particular field. So it is very much important for you that other published, in order to bring other researcher, that what the other researcher already published, you analyzes this thing in your literature review. And from a literature review require the reading literature from various of sources, like various of journal, the books, the newspaper also, and forming a taxonomy or structure for your review. You must understand the taxonomy or structure of your review. Otherwise, as a researcher, it's not possible to find out the better literature review. Identify where in your taxonomy in various contribution for the literature fail, that where the taxonomy actually failed in various contribution of your research, and also critically reviewing the literature. So it is better after reviewing the literature, you must give one that is called reviewer, that please review my literature again, that these are my literature. And how can you draw your own conclusion in your literature review and highlight the implication of your work? Like this is the example, that this is the abstract. In this abstract, we can find out that in the recent gain, the performance of 3D graphic hardware and render system have been matched the corresponding environment. This is one of the literature review. Like this is collect from the survey of 3D interpretation technique or interaction technique from Computer Graphic Forum. So another point is come the referencing. This is the referencing part. You can apply the APA style or Harvard style. So you must understand what's the APA style and Harvard style. So it is better that you gone through that what is the Harvard style and what is the APA style. So what's your journal wants? If your journal follow the Harvard style, then you follow the Harvard style. If your journal follow the APA style, you follow the APA style. Now in the example, this is the rationale, right? This part is actually the rationale. In your literature review, you must have three parts, like rationale. This is called rationale part. Also, scope of review. This is the scope of review, that this paper examines some of the interaction technique which have been developed. This is the scope of review. In your literature review, you have one of your rationale part. Another one is scope of review. And another point is indication of taxonomy. This is called a taxonomy for object manipulation, navigation and application control in 3D virtual environment. So these are the taxonomy, that what are the from in this literature review, what do you get for object manipulation, the application control in 3D virtual environment. So these are called the taxonomy of your literature review, because if you are a business student, your literature review, your taxonomy should be related with the business literature, like from you collected data from the business journal. It is called a taxonomy. Like this is not a class for the Bloom's taxonomy, but in a research study, you must apply the Bloom's taxonomy. It is another part. It's a very huge chapter. It's not possible for me to describe this thing in here. But Bloom's taxonomy is very much important for a researcher to understand the Bloom's taxonomy for your research. Another point is come, that is the sources of information, like the scientific journal, the conference processing, the magazine, the newspaper, and also various important part that is related for your sources of information for your research. And project academic objective, like if, for example, review method of usable evaluation appropriate to the evaluation of internet based, then what are the things from the distance learning course? This is the project academic objective. Like if you are academics, then you understand this thing that if you are applying a research on a project, then these are the method actually you review from the project, like require the review method, then implication of the problem, then comparison and control between the method, light and difference of needs, then application and your conclusion about which method to be used and how. So these are the process as an academic in a project, that how can you evaluate it and how to do it. Collect and read the current paper and review the field from the list of reference cited, the cited paper. Also, you identify the authors, the prominent authors paper, like from the Elsevier journal, from the Springer, from the Elsevier, from the Corpus Index. You understand these journal are very much important for you. And also search online bibliographic achievement. Another point is come that in a research, you criticizing your research, like you researcher have a vast interesting in making piece of work appear scientific or worth of publication. So it is a better understanding that after your research you must review your research by another person, then it will be judged that he or she judge your research, then it is very much viable for you to draw a conclusion. So it is important part that if you are a researcher, you must review your paper from others. So this is the thing that in a positive research method includes the descriptive research, also the experimental research is here. And I think my time is almost ended, but I am just continues this thing because there are some important parts is here, that questionnaire design. It is one of the important points that in the questionnaire design, you have to understand the relevant requirement gathering for an evaluate of your project, like planning and logistic questionnaire design, layout issue, form of questionnaire, and content of questionnaire. And in planning and logistic questionnaire design, quantitative and qualitative question, also legal requirement, the Data Protection Act you must apply, sample size, it is important, volunteer of respondent, it is important, then identify subject area to designing your questionnaire, it is important, then determining the appropriate length, like length of your question, it is important, then typical time scale, it is important, and the main component of your question. So this is the form of the question, like open and close-ended question, then also a scale method, midpoint or no point question, ranking the question. So these are the things is related. I think there are many of things in a research, and within this short time, it's not possible to give all these things. So within a 1 hour, it's not possible for me to give you the expert. So it is. I am just touching each and every point. Another point is here that the terminology, it is a vague and ambiguous terminology. So don't use this thing, because how often do you clean your teeth? So like frequently, often, infrequently, never. So what does frequently mean? So don't use this kind of word in your research. So you must be quantify your research question. So don't use this kind of vague terminology. And also hidden assumption, and so like when did you last borrow a videotape. So avoid hidden
एशिया कप में
assumptions.
भारत पाकिस्तान के बीच हुए रोमांचक मुकाबले में भारत की जीत के बाद सोशल मीडिया पर फनी वीडियो वायरल हो रहे हैं, जिसे लोग
Another point is here that research question. So already I covered here. In the research question method, you can apply that. In the research question, you have interview method, group discussion, then also video, like participation, observation, text and image analysis. And I think this is the important part for your research, that how can you prepare the research proposal. In the research proposal, you have the title page, you must have the abstract, the body of the research, also the introduction. It is 2 or 3 pages. Your methodology should contain 7 to 10 pages. Then your sample, then your measurement, your design is 1 to 2 pages. Your procedure is 2 to 3 pages. Then your result come for 2 to 3 pages, and conclusion is 1 to 2 pages. So this is the reference, and you must apply the table, figure, and appendix is here. So this is the question, that how can you solve business problem? Why do you need to know how to write the research proposal? Do you understand the research process? Do you know why do you identify problem statement clear before doing research? Do you know why sampling and statistics are important for your research result? Why do you have identified the limitation of your study? Why do the research report present are important, and why? And do you know how apply the step of your research process? So this is very important question you ask yourself as a researcher. And the question is here, if you want to set up a coffee shop near the university and school, what's your research topic? So it is a very simple research question. And identify the problem. From this problem, you can identify the problem, you identify the objective, you identify the hypothesis, you identify the research methodology, and also you identify the questionnaire from this problem, that if you want to set up a coffee shop near the university or your school, what's your research topic? So if you want it, then do for it. Don't say, I can't do it. So thank you so much for being your attention. And if you want to contact with me, just scan this address. This is my Facebook and LinkedIn address, so you can contact with me anytime. So I think I am almost finished here, and I already take so much time. So my last was is here, that as a researcher, if you think that I will become a researcher, then it's a process that you start your research from your heart. If you think that many literature, many people already done their work, and I just copy that work and paste it in my research, then you actually you are not a researcher. So I think if you are a true researcher, you must research by your heart. If you do it, then it's not then it is not possible for you to avoid or mistake any kind of point that other already mistake in their research gap. So in the research gap is important. Also, your research methodology is important. Also, your research result is important. And how can you find out the result? You apply the statistical tools. So I think as a researcher, you must apply this thing in your research, then it will be a good research. Otherwise, it's not possible to become a good researcher. Thank you so much.
Any questions from participant side? Now,
Yes, please. I have a question.
Yeah.
I have some couple of questions to ask him. Yes.
Sir, please.
Yeah, Dr. Sharia, I must say you're a very good presenter, and I have learned a lot from you today. I have learned a lot about business research. Very, very eye-opener, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I have some couple of questions to ask you. In your presentation, you gave us various categories of research under different disciplines. For example, sales and marketing research, information system research. And then under sales and marketing research, you highlighted on customer satisfaction, which is very, very key in our 21st century. My first question is, do you measure performance of your company only when your business is declining in sales and customer dissatisfaction, and not when the company is experiencing increase in service patronage and client satisfaction? It is in two folds. Thank you.
Okay, can you please repeat your question again? The customer satisfaction?
Yes. I'm saying that do you measure performance of your company only when your business is declining in sales and customer dissatisfaction, and not when the company is experiencing increase in service patronage and client satisfaction? So the question is in two folds. Thank you.
Okay. So it's a very vital question. Like as a production house, it's a very much important and vital question that how can your customer feels, or what's the satisfaction level of your customer from your product. If your sales is declining, like you already mentioned that your sales is declining, then how can you measure the customer satisfaction? So it is the main part as a researcher, that if you are a manager of your organization, like of that corporate, if you want to undertake this research, then at first you must analyze that what's the point behind that, why my sales is declining and why my customer is dissatisfied. So that is the main point, that how can you apply this? That is the main problem statement, that why. So if your profit is declining, then it is related not only your marketing section, it is also related with finance section. So in these two areas, so you must understand that why your company becoming loss. So if you find out that thing, that yes, my companies are not gaining from this product, then I should apply the multiple product segment. In a product segment, if you are from the marketing department, then you must understand that your company produce the single product or multiple product. Like in a soap company like Lux, if I just mentioning, there are different kinds of flavor are here. It is only one product, but they can give the customer preference, that someone use this flavor, someone use this flavor. So you must understand that what type of product your company offered. If your company offered the single product, then if your sales is declining, then you must understand that yes, I have some problem in my product. So my customer will not be satisfied if I just segmented the product in various line of product, then it will be a better option, that it should help our customer to become satisfied in the next few years or few months. So you can try this thing. Like actually it is a very practical thing, like in a corporate sector or in a academic sector. These two sectors are totally different, because I'm working also in a corporate sector, also in academic sector. So when I'm in an academician, I always teach the books. And at the time of corporate sector, these are related with the practical experience. Like each and every day, your research and development cell faces the problem. Like one customer just called, oh, your product is good. And another customer is called, no, I am not satisfied with your product because your product has this thing. So as a researcher, you must note this thing, and then you interrogate and interact everything like small task, and then you find out the whole big picture. I think you should understand or get my points.
Right, thank you. The second question, quickly. How often should a company performance monitoring
Okay.
research in respective discipline stated earlier? So what I want to find out is that how often should a company perform a business research in respective discipline, as you stated earlier on?
Okay.
Is it every mid-year? 1, 2. Is it every end of year? 3. Is it every 2 or 3 years per your strategy of the company, or as and when necessary? Which one do you go with?
Okay. Well, what's your option? First option is?
Yes, I said, is it every mid-year? 1. Is it every end of year? 2. Is it every 2 or 3 years as per the strategy of the company? And 4. Is it as and when necessary?
Okay. So
4
at
options.
first, yes. Actually, the point is here, in a real life situation, at first you understand that what's your capacity. Otherwise, like if you are a production house and in your capacity is low, or you have no such a good capacity in a financial position, then it's not possible to take this decision in every week or every month. So you just apply in end of the year or end of the 6 months. But if you have the capacity, like in our production house, how many production house have the R&D cell, like research and development cell? So if you have no research and development cell, then it's not possible to take the decision initially. But yes, if it is a big default that your production actually totally decline and nobody buys your product, then it is immediately you should take this research. Otherwise, I think it's better to take this decision for a financial year. Like as a product, you must launch this product for a 2 to 3 year, like in short term, in medium term, or in long term. So if your product is for the medium term, then 2 to 3 years is the best option. If your product is the long term, I think product should not be in a long time. It should be a short term is better, because each and every buyer's minds are changing in every minute, like in a mobile phone. Each and every time, like it is a competitive market, and you use this mobile today, and tomorrow your friends use another new technology mobile. So I think company capacity is the main factor to understand this decision. Otherwise, it is not possible to take this kind of research, because I already told that research should include the cost. If your cost is not minimizes, if your value is not maximizes, then it is not possible to take the research anytime, because company should understand the profit maximization. I think you should clear this thing.
Yes, thank you. The third question is a scenario. 2 companies selling computer accessories and mobile phone. Now, are you mindful of your competitors' research findings to serve as a foundation to improve performance in the business industry? That's the question.
Again, please.
Yes, the question is a scenario. 2 companies selling computer accessories and mobile phones. Are you mindful of your competitors' research findings to serve as a foundation to improve performance and output?
Okay.
Please, you get
So,
it. Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much for asking me very nice question, because I think I am now a interview session. So I'm that enjoying this session also. So the point is here that the company should understand that what's their customer target, what the target customer. If they are targeting the niche customer, if they are targeting the mass customer, then what's the segmented area? If this is niche market segment, then your company should focus on that market. If your company focus on the big market like mass market segment, then your company should focus on that market. So if it is a competition in the competition sector, there are different kinds of competition actually here. In the strategic management, you understand this thing. These are the strategic management portion. Like in a competitor, in the table, like I have I have no resource at that time. In the table, you understand that if your product quality is low, then your price is low, then your customer should be in a mass market. Then if you want to capture the competitor in a next level, then you should research on that background and you should implement your company according to your competitors. Like if your competitors are give the higher product or higher performance product from you, then you should research at that time, and you must analyze that what are the points they apply, that what are the points they apply, the customer buying their product and not buy our product. So that is the main factor that you understand when you go for the competition. You must understand the capacity of your competitor. Otherwise, it is not a good decision to go drive in a competition. Go drive for a competition with your same industry buyer. Yes, you have some goodwill inside you, but you should not go competition without measuring, without researching the capacity of your competitor.
Okay, thank you very much. The last question. In the business research, both qualitative data and quantitative data are collected for analysis. As per your years of experience, which is useful in the business industry in terms of measuring experiences of customers using the product? Thank you.
Very interesting and very much important question. That what's the data actually applied for your research in your business? It is quantitative or qualitative? Like in the situation, if your situation is in the business situation, if you understand the business situation, you must apply the qualitative data at first. Quantitative next, at first qualitative, because you describe, you understand the mind of your customer. Then qualitative data is the most important for your business research. And after that, when you gather the qualitative data, then you blend with this qualitative data with your quantitative part, because quantitative data always gives you the figures. And from where you collect this figure? You collect this figure by implementation, by analysis the quantitative also. So if you are a financial study, if you are doing financial research, then it is a different part. Then you can apply the regression analysis, or you can apply in a in covariance or many things. But if you are analysis on a marketing study, then understand the minds of the customer, then how can you measure it? You apply the Likert scale. So you measuring, you are questioning and apply the qualitative data at first, and then you blending the qualitative data in a quantitative manner and find out the result. That is I think this is the best decision for a corporate, the blending of quantitative and qualitative, as first qualitative and then quantitative, because these two data are two analyses are important for your business research. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please, I follow up to your submission, your just ended submission. So getting it depends on the angle that, or the services that the company is providing. So now these two scenarios, two companies, one sells product, that is fast moving consumer goods, FMCG, And then 2, service delivery. I think that in terms of you collecting data, there should be one that should be very paramount in these 2 companies. Because initially you made mention that when you should pick your quantitative data, so it gives you a fair idea that people are buying your product. What is the case where I am providing services but I am not selling any fast-moving consumer goods? Which one is the best data collection to use? Thank you.